Welcome back to Leonard Brothers Game. I'm David,
I'm John.
and we're still playing some more Skyrim today. One thing I just looked up here on the news, apparently Shia LaBeouf has announced he's retiring from all public life after his highly publicized case of plagiarism and the ensuing fallout. Do you hear about this?
Oh yeah, I heard that he had apologized to somebody, but he ended up. Well, he used somebody else's material.
Yeah, he used somebody
he apologized to him using 3 other people's material.
Yeah.
In the apology.
Well, part of it was apparently a skywritten message on top of this guy's house or something. Oh, I'm sorry, kind of thing.
Yeah.
So it's gotten
over the top.
So much bad publicity. Apparently, he's just leaving the industry. And of course, there was a rumor. Apparently, there was a prank that Justin Bieber was also retiring after his next album or whatever. And it's like everyone's like, rejoice, and he's like, no, I'm just joking. We'll be around forever. I'm like, no.
Don't tease us like that, okay? Come on.
Yeah. And you know how after Disney bought out Lucasfilm, LucasArts, they killed LucasArts as a game division, and basically there was a game, Star Wars 1313, that was coming out. That was supposed to be a really good third-person Star Wars shooter, that they've completely killed it. And so now apparently Disney's decided they're going to produce more free-to-play games, like mobile games, based on Star Wars. And so we don't want those. We don't want more Star Wars Angry Birds. We don't need any of those tie-in licenses. Please make real quality games again. Go back to the adventure games like Sam and Max and Monkey Island stuff. Those games were just fantastic. And although we got Telltale Games making those kind of content, and bought the licenses obviously from LucasArts before they got bought out. But still, it's the principle of the thing. And you know how the Clone Wars series ended abruptly? Apparently, it was supposed to be a 4-part comic book miniseries that ties up loose ends with Darth Maul still being alive. But apparently, that is not the end. The Star Wars comic is not the intended finale. It's going to be something more to continue that story. Of course, there's also the Seth Green's series, Star Wars Detours, which is supposed to be a sitcom, sarcastic look at the Star Wars universe.
Yeah.
That Disney's decided they're not going to release it until after Episode 7 releases because they want something to start out their people's perception of Star Wars as the way Disney is portraying it, as more serious tone. They want to start out with the serious, the stuff that people have been waiting for since the prequel trilogy, and the Clone Wars cartoon have basically made a mockery of what people thought of, at least, as good Star Wars content. Not a whole lot of people like that cartoon.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then they're going to wait until after that comes out, and then they're going to release the new content. Should be good. And apparently also at CES, there's a bunch of new announcements of 3D printers. There's supposed to be one that's about the size of, like your piggy bank kind of thing.
Yeah.
It's supposed to make small figurines for like $500. And there's other ones that they've made that are supposed to be able to make Jello creations. Like you just pour in like Jello mix, and it's able to 3D print Jello sculptures.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Jello.
Yeah, which you'd probably eat or just fall apart instantly because it's Jello. Why wouldn't you?
Well, it depends on how much gelatin you put into it. I mean,
yeah, true.
The real question, I suppose, would be how edible would it be?
Also, interesting little study from UK that drinking up to 4 cups of coffee will not dehydrate you at all.
Really?
So they had 50 participants, each drinking 4 mugs of either black coffee or water per day for 3 days, and then they'd switch. There's no significant difference between those who were told to drink coffee and those who drank water. Both were equally hydrated at all stages. Tolerance takes 4 to 5 days, and it means that regular coffee drinkers shouldn't need to pee any more than those that rule caffeine out of their diets. a moderate consumption of coffee, 4 cups or less, isn't necessarily dehydrating. Not that you care. You just drink any energy drink or anything, which who knows? If you drink so much Mountain Dew that your urine is like green or something like that.
That's not talk about.
Let's not go there. Fair enough. Fair enough. Oh yeah, there was also an interesting little prank I told you last night, but I guess I'll tell everybody else listening. Everybody listen. Yeah. With the Xbox One, the fact that it has all the voice control features, that somebody decided to name their character Xbox Sign Off. And so they would go onto online games like Call of Duty or whatever, Battlefield, and they would annoy people to the point where that person that they're annoying would end up saying their call name, and the Xbox would listen and then suddenly ask to sign them off. Like, Xbox, sign off, what are you doing? No, wait, no, don't sign me off. And then they leave the game. Because Xbox always listening. It's like, and other people would recognize it and say, Xbox, you know what your name is? I'm not going to say your name because that would sign me out. That's really mean joke there.
Or brilliant.
Well, brilliant, yeah, that's true. Oh, and apparently the worst news. Uwe Boll is making a sequel. I haven't even seen this film, called The Rampage. Apparently it's not one of his video game-based films, but there's going to be a sequel to it coming out soon. That I'm just, please, whoever is giving Uwe Boll money, if it's like still the German government are actually have subsidized funds and stuff like that. They encourage German filmmakers by just giving them pretty much anything they want, any amount of money they want to make even terrible movies. It's almost like the Asylum, the German equivalent of the Asylum, where they just keep making more and more bad films because if anybody buys it, it ends up pretty much being a profit at that point. Because it's so cheap and so poorly done and just so bad. But the fact that Uwe Boll has to do it for video game-based movies, video game-based movies are bad enough as they are. That's another, I guess, topic discussion. Which is worse? A movie based on a video game, or a video game based on a movie?
Ooh.
Because both categories have some really bad stuff.
Both bad examples, too,
yeah. For example, Street Fighter, the movie, the game. The game based off the movie, based off the game. Where they took motion capture, or at least, as much as they could back in the mid-90s, of all the actors in their costumes, just punching in the air and kicking, and it just wild, stupid movements. It looked horrible. It played horrible. And I suppose the movie was only slightly better than that game. Of course, that's not saying much, because in general it was all bad. All very, very bad. Well, of course, when it comes to Uwe Boll films, they've got stuff like Postal, which it's a bad game, and it's stupid, and it's a waste of time, and so is the movie. It's the one representation he got it right. That doesn't make it right. It just means he got it right.
He's accurate.
And other films, a lot of people haven't seen stuff like Far Cry. Did you trigger that? Or I
did.
Why did you trigger that?
I find traps with my feet.
I find traps. This isn't Vic Lightfoot. This is Conan. Vic Lightfoot's in the other game.
True.
Yeah. Anyways, but yeah, video game based movies and stuff. A lot of people have hope for the World of Warcraft movie. I forget which director was Zack Snyder. Some big name director is working on it, and they've put more money into this one than any other video game based movie before it. And apparently they are in constant contact with Blizzard directly.
Yeah, getting approval,
getting storyline, getting some ideas and stuff like that to work with. And it's not actually based on World of Warcraft, but the original Warcraft Orcs and Humans. It's entirely focused on the origin story of the battle from the first game. between the orcs and humans. No night elves, no other creatures.
Ah.
So it's really interesting to get that kind of perspective of, like, miss me, woo, that tickles.
And it's for the old original gamers, too.
Exactly. We'll continue this discussion next time on Leonard Brothers Game. Until then, happy gaming.